I think today has been a good, enlightening kind of start in the mornings, and we heard quite a bit on the cost of running a network, and revenues are flat, and even we heard that actually a possibility of delaying 6G, which is, and of course, when the revenues are flat, cost is high, it is difficult to modernize the networks. So just keep this one in mind. Hopefully, actually, this chat may light a little bit or some kind of answers we try to find. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Fireside Chat on AI Ops and automation, which are driving network evolution and also service innovation. Today, whole industry are talking about transformation, some sort of zero-touch networks or towards zero-touch networks. And in order to hear three UK's view, Iain, welcome. Iain Milligan is the CNO of 3UK, and he has been in mobile industry, as far as I know, many, many years, and he's an expert from operations to networks and technology. Is there anything else you would like to, Iain?
Yeah, so a big part of my background is the network operations. I also, for my sins, had IT operations, but it comes with the same challenge around how to drive efficiency through operational kind of excellence, through your optimization and as much automation as possible.
Yeah, when I was asked actually aiops, immediately Iain came to my mind. Iain, 3 has been one of the most innovative operators since its launch in 2003. It was the 3 launch on 03. Even that one was really quite interesting. Over the years, the network evolved from voice-centric to data-centric, especially the introduction of 4G and 5G. And you, as Iain Milligan, have been through most of those changes. And today you are deploying new sites and OpenRAN technology and all those complexities into network. And I'm sure the audience would like to know how you are planning to address those complex network management operational issues.
Yeah, so to give some context, within the UK, 3 has about 32% of all mobile data traffic goes through the 3 network, even though we only have about 11% of the market share. That is based on our customers driving about at least a 2.5 times level of data consumption than the other operators. So we are a data-hungry network. As part of that, though, it comes with the upsides and the downsides. The upside is obviously it's hugely popular with customers. They love that. The downside is how we have to stay on top on the efficiency in which we build out the network. So what we currently face is obviously everybody else, congestion in the RAN, congestion in the core and the transport, and it's how we constantly optimize that as effective as we can do within our means to get the best that we can out of it. Now, one of the challenges we have, and it's part of the project that we're currently working on for OpenRAN, is we have quite a mixed vendor radio estate at the moment. So we still have 3G and Nokia equipment. We have first generation Samsung 4G sites. We have Huawei 4G, 5G. We have Ericsson 4G, 5G as well. And one of the issues we face is we've kind of got that pepper potted across the UK. And in some cases, like in the area we're working in currently in Glasgow, is we actually have all 4 vendors in one location. And it's how do you optimize both the best possible customer experience, the most efficient way to do it, and to try to alleviate as much capacity as you can. And that's the problem statement we've got and what we're kind of working on just now.
Okay. I think I'm kind of familiar with the project, and I think having so many different vendors, especially in a mixed environment, and with the new technology, new standard, and legacy network, it is quite important to start having a centralized kind of management system to make sure that actually they all work quite seamlessly. Right. And of course, automation is a key word. We heard that throughout the conference, and also we will be hearing it, I believe, today and tomorrow, remaining of the conference. And on top of this, there is also AI as a buzzword with huge potential. I believe there's huge potential, but wouldn't that be great to predict the faults or issues in the network even before they occur and before they become a problem, bigger problem to resolve? Wouldn't that be good to know that before it happens, if AI can resolve that can provide that kind of input?
Definitely, and I think from an engineering perspective, I think one of the things that frustrates me the most is whenever you have a network incident, you can always look back in hindsight and you can see very clearly in the KPIs, okay, this one started to drop here, this is when it broke, and actually before this one dropped, I've seen that one drop over there. The data is there, and that is the thing that's just frustrating, is how do you then get it out of the elements into a location, or actually, like the idea discussed in just the previous panel, is try to push the logic to the elements as much as possible. And this is where I think there's a challenge around the speed and the compute to be able to do it with standard tools, and it's near impossible without looking at more advanced things like using AI to do it. But then it comes with, and this is one of the challenges to overcome, is that it can be cost prohibitive as well. So for me, I think the opportunity is there. We see it day in, day out within the network. I'm sure everybody else sees it within their technology stack as well. It's just how you unlock it at the right cost. And one of the things that we've learned as well is we've done a few proofs of concepts, is the tool's only as good as the individual who can actually come up with the logic and actually manage the logic on an ongoing basis, working with the tool set to do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, we also heard today from different presentations that AI is something that many people think it will be a solution for every single problem, but actually we should be really a bit more aware of the limitations as well. And in PIWorks, we did quite a bit investment or research and implementations. There are some use cases AI works very well, predicting the traffic increase or energy saving and all those things. But there are some use cases that a simple equation would solve the problem, or a simple logic. So we have to be really careful what AI can do, what the AI can achieve.
I think it's about being realistic with the capability of where you get the data from, the logic you build into it. And it's like you said, it's not every single use case can go into it, because sometimes it's like trying to crack a nut with a hammer. You don't need to. It should be only where you think it's going to add the value. And at the moment, I'd see quite a lot of products is put all the data into this one location and start building your use cases. And at that point, you can paralyze yourself. It should be looking at what's the problem we're trying to solve, and you build the logic to do that.
Yeah. Again, coming back to AI, and when engineers or people hear about AI ops, immediately think about that maybe by mistake, it was me as well. Predictive algorithms, sophisticated technology, AI and operations. But actually, there are some other dimensions to AI ops, such as processes, people, culture, and, can you please elaborate on your I believe you are going through a transformation, and AI ops is going to be part of it to a degree.
An actual use case which we deployed. So last year we enabled capturing of EDR records coming out of the packet core, out of the GI LAN. And we didn't know, we were looking at it more of a discovery as to what was going on. And what we did was just plot, okay, where are the transactions happening in the network based on, so we've got like a distributed core network with about 19 data centers. And we started capturing, okay, customer up here, what's happening to that traffic? And what we started to actually see was we're tromboning traffic all over the UK. For somebody who was based on the north of the UK, we were bouncing their traffic all the way down to London, then out to the internet, back up, then all the way up again. And as soon as we switched on AIOps, or an AIOps capability, we could actually just see not just overall traffic routing, but you can see individual user routing and where it was going. And what that called out was design efficiency. So it wasn't just, okay, it's something broken and how we predict it, but we were using up really important capacity space within the transport network unnecessarily. We were losing milliseconds in latency by bouncing about. And that, for me, has opened up an idea of it's not just about how you fix stuff that's broken or preempt it, it's how you drive efficiency in your design, which helps with your capacity investments and everything else. And once we brought that to life and seen a lot more of the design community adopt it as actually a very good practice to tune and optimize what they've got, not just on being called in when something breaks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is there any questions from the audience or any? Yeah, sure.
Hi, Malik Sazi, ABR Research. When we talk about AI, we tend to talk about one platform, one solution, and the reality it is not. You know, there are hundreds of use cases as far as telcos are concerned, you know, where you can use AI and different AI models. Some could be conflicting, because when you start, you know, to have AI models targeting performance enhancement versus another model targeting power efficiency, sometime, you know, they could clash. So my question is how operators like yourself are going to harmonize their AI framework, and is there any centralized, you know, framework you are thinking of? Thank you.
Yeah, so it's actually started from a very boring place, actually. So we started it with defining on corporate policy on the use of Gen AI and the scenarios which you can go after. And I've rolled out this, it's a policy that's going to multiple functions and business units around, okay, how would it be used within a customer support environment? How would it be used in a finance department? How would it be used in the technology domain? And that set the rules, because actually what was happening was everybody was doing exactly what you're describing. Everybody was advertising a tool to them for their use case, and you'd end up having 10, 15, 20, 30 different tools. So that comes with a cost risk, but also a security and data risk. So we have established a general standard framework for what we want to do to follow, and as part of that is now a matter of what we consider to be the tools needed for managing non-sensitive data versus what should be customer interacting behaviour. So we've tried to establish it that way. There is synergies within the tools, because in reality, you can either have it as everything in one data location at cost and you build your use cases on top, versus what we have been looking at is having discrete tools for certain scenarios on the basis that they try to use off a centralised data source or data availability. So that's how we've tried to approach it just now. It's getting tested in different things through things like you've got Microsoft's Copilot, it's quite powerful for customer support scenarios. We are looking at that as well when it comes to that scenario gave on traffic routing. But on products which are direct from vendors, like, for example, if we're using Ericsson or Huawei, all of that is heavily built within the product set that they provide, and it's about how effectively we can use it within that guardrail that we've got in our company policies.
Yeah, Iain, and I've got another question in my mind about the automation as part of AI ops. AI ops is one of the first steps towards transformation, digital transformation, and automation is a big part of AI ops. What's your view on automation, especially on the? I mean, it's end to end, of course, but the biggest part of the network is the radio domain. Mm-hmm. So, what's your thoughts on?
To be fair, it's like I'm on board with trying to do as much as we can possibly do, but I think there is the reality of you do need dedicated function to do it, which is easier said than done. Mm. You also do have the challenge if you've got a multi-vendor environment like what we have on the radio. It's extremely difficult to do the level of automation effectively without either buying another tool on top or creating and customizing what you have. So what we're looking to do is whenever you've got that type of scenario where you've got a clean enough environment to do it, you do it. But what we're looking to do, again, from a policy perspective, is when we're going through any procurement process or activity, we're looking to actually make sure that the technology we buy can be adapted into what we need to be able to automate. But that's kind of where we are just now. But what I do find is when you put too much rules in place for that, you stifle it. And some of the best automation we've actually seen within our core network automation has been the operations team's been given a mandate of, okay, this is a bit hard, how do you make it a bit easier? And they've come up with enough scripting and principles which might work there and then, but when you then hand it over to the design community, they see the foundations to then make it solid for network rollout. So I think it's a good two-way process between the end users who are actually making changes in the network versus the design teams who are there to implement it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think these are all my questions actually on the AI ops. Is there any other questions from the audience? Oh.
Can I ask what your biggest challenge was in adoption for AI ops and automation and how you overcame it?
Yep. I would honestly say I don't think we have overcame it yet, so we're still testing it. So there is a challenge, like it is cost prohibitive. So if you're trying to do the level of automation that we want to do with the level of the network insights, we're talking about the amount of compute and storage to do it. So we're actually trying to do it in localized aspects. I would love to switch on full network visibility to be able to do what we want to do. So for me, we're trying to come up with what's the sweet spot of how much data do we expose to be able to automate. So that's one part which is a real constraint, and it's how efficiently you get the data out of the network as quickly as you can do. The other real challenge is still skill set, and that's not technical skill set, it's probably more behavioural. I think what I struggle with is that we have telecoms experts, we have scripting experts from data functions, but to be able to combine both to really understand a telco use case with the data available and the network element, if you're trying to do it out the radio, is combining that effectively is very difficult. And it's one of the things we're still kind of working on how you get the collaboration working. So if we talk about like trying to automate a scenario in the RAN, you'll have a radio expert who's a specialist in the physics of the network. You'll have somebody who knows how to extract the data from the core network to that level, and you'll have then the person who's exceptional at Python or whatever to build the scenarios. And trying to get that working effectively day in, day out is a challenge, and trying to think that one person can do all those skills is unrealistic as well. So for me, that's one of the, beyond the cost element, that is the challenge. So we're trying to make it work with like collaboration teams and doing things like that, but if you're half in, it doesn't work. It has to be creating a dedicated team, and we've not yet got to that yet, because we're a bit on the knife edge around starting to prove the return on investment and value for that versus going full in with it.
Okay, we have got time for one more, a very short question.
Yeah.
Okay, if there is no... Oh,
sorry, there's one.
Somebody very short one?
Hi, Erol.
Oh, okay.
It's Costa Turcas from Real Wireless. Quick question for Iain, if I may. Out of all the things that you've tried with AI so far, either in-house or through your vendor community, what would you say was the thing that generated the most impact for you so far?
And I know it's a bit of an easy use case these days, ever since the energy crisis, but we have an intelligent energy efficiency capability that's working with our radio vendor, Ericsson, which has been excellent in terms of you can either go for a very simple, hard, in the quiet hours, turn the radio down. It's actually got this really smart feature which picks up, and this has been both combining both working with Ericsson and what we see of our own network, is whenever the traffic fluctuates on a consistent basis, on a real-time basis, how you reduce the power and the bandwidth kind of on a dynamic basis, and that in itself has generated about upwards of about 7-10% savings in energy alone, whilst ensuring absolutely zero drop on customer throughput, KPIs, and performance overall. And I think that in itself is an excellent use case which we're looking to expand further with.
All right. Thank you very much, Iain.
Yep, thank you very much.
And the audience. Thank you very much.